about Affiliate Marketing 2.0, powering ROI-driven growth. I'm sure everybody wants to know how do we do that and how can we leverage that. So, for more insights on this topic, please join me in welcoming our speakers, panelists for the session. Welcome on stage, Mr. Monish Chakravarti, Vice President Marketing Head at Business Standard. Let's give a huge round of applause, please. Welcome, Mr. Chakravarti. Very warm welcome. I request you to sit around your image, on the second chair, please. I'd also like to welcome Mr. Tejas Kothari, leading brand and marketing, BBC World Service India and APAC regions. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kothari. A very warm welcome to you. They're joined by on the panel Mr. Ashish Pawar, Head Marketing, Tata Asset Management. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome him as well. A very warm welcome to Mr. Pawar. And moderating this session is Mr. Santosh Ghosh, Principal at Dentsu Agile. Everybody, let's welcome our moderator as well. Welcome, gentlemen. And Mr. Ghosh, I'm going to leave the stage over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. This is an ROI-driven session. I hope that we will get some ROI after this session. Let me introduce those she has introduced. Ashish is a veteran as far as marketing is concerned, and he manages the FSI sector, which is extremely heavy as far as outcome guarantees is concerned. They want return on investment by every dollar they spend. So Ashish will be sharing his views as a marketer, as also as an industry person. Monish is from Business Standard, a 50-year-old business journalism brand, which is doing fantastic stuff as far as numbers is concerned, highly respected. Tejas is from BBC. BBC, everybody knows what BBC does, but they are marketing gurus. They are not from the publisher sales side. They are marketing guys, and they will be sharing their perspective as far as how the industry is going and how it is shaping up. Just to give a brief as far as affiliate marketing or outcome guaranteed or any performance-based product is concerned, we have seen an evolution of this stuff over a period of time, like digital has evolved over a period of time. Initially, it was cost per click was considered as an outcome guarantee. Then it evolved, it went to cost per lead, but publishers used to be very, very specific that lead form should be only 3 to 4 fields, name, email ID, mobile number, and location, because those days your browser could not locate the location, so user will fill in the location by themselves. Then it evolved further, then it was OTP verified lead, and then call center verified lead, then cost per sale, cost per outcome, and it kept on evolving. And the APIs kept on becoming much more harder and harder. So to this, we will be discussing that we are entering into an age where everybody is talking about a buzzword called AI. Analytics has become much more stronger. Now marketers can generally analyze that from where what is coming. We will discuss about this perspective. So my first question is to Ashish. Ashish, how do you feel that this whole business or this whole progression of outcome guarantee, affiliate marketing, performance marketing has evolved over a period of time? And what is your take as a marketer of your organization, and over a period of time as an industry person, how you feel that this has progressed so far?
So I think it's a nice question to start. As you rightly said, it started with clicks, then it went to leads, and then it went to OTP things and call center things, and ultimately sales. But as you understand, from a business perspective, we will put in money when there is some outcome which is helpful for an organization perspective. So of course, as we say, ROI is important, and it has gone into the right market. So now, at least in Tata Vision, what we look at it is, while doing any affiliate marketing, we look into two to three aspects which are important. Of course, we do look at the quality, which is very important. It's not just we do it with any of the affiliates. We have a certain affiliate which give us that quality, which is important. Our publishers will give us that quality, which is at the forefront because your brand is being exposed through that medium. In terms of you're talking to consumer via a certain publisher or other things. That's important. That's how we operate, and then of course we measure those leads, conversions, and of course now as you said, right, through AI, different models, the OTP verification leads happen. But now coming to the second question, if you ask me how it will progress, I'm saying the important thing which we all are thinking is how can so as of now affiliate marketing is a part of it. I'm saying if I'm spending 100 rupees in purple marketing, I might spend 4 or 5 rupees in affiliate. As of now, that's the thing. The moment I start doing scaling up, there are things that the revenue goes down or the cost per conversion goes down. So if it has to grow, we will need to say how can it happen at a mass scale, and it also helps in mass personalization also. These are two things which I think is important.
Thank you, Ashish. My next question goes to Tejas. Tejas, you come from a global brand. You have been observing the global trends changing. Over a period of time, this outcome guarantee from hardcore API driven models. What do you think that what are the drivers of change? Is it only as such how technology was evolving that was the driver, or there were some innovations which you have observed as an industry leader? How did you see that? What were the drivers of change?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of evolution happening very quickly. And like Ashish also mentioned, one thing that we sense is that prices are getting more demanding in terms and in the right way. So while people were talking about what's the CPC, what's the downloads, how many leads will I get, then to what's the final conversion that I'm getting. So people are now talking about ROAS, ROMI, that's what we talk about at BBC. So we call it ROMI, that's return on marketing investment. A lot of people talk about ROAS, which is so the space is evolving very quickly, and what we are increasingly seeing is one thing that still remains as the core and which has not changed is how can you engage your core users. So if you are a platform, so if we are a platform as BBC, we have audiences who we have touched upon for the first time when they are like 14 years or 15 years, and they stay with us forever. And that audience that matures with us and grows with us has consumed content, consumed advertising also on some of our platforms, and that's how they have grown and engaged with us. So there is a lot of credibility, there is a lot of engagement value which still remains. That's the common denominator over the years. That has not changed.
Thank you, Tejas. My next question goes to Munish. Munish, you come from Business Standard, you have been seeing numbers day in and day out. My next question is that, how the consumer behaviors is changing. We have seen that digital is a pretty new phenomenon right now, which is coming somewhere in 95, 96, with emails, in modern dialing, and we've all grown in that age. And over a period of time, at a click of on your mobile phone, you can call it cab, you can call it food, and everything. So with this evolution, consumer behavior has changed as far as user is concerned. How the affiliate marketers or outcome guarantee providers capitalize on this, and could they do a justice as well as providing a better ROI for the clients they are driving the tablets for?
It's a very interesting context, Santosh. I just pick guaranteed outcome to begin with and leave it at this. Guarantee in anything is a dicey term. If something is guaranteed, how is it being guaranteed is a question I think that every agency, every marketer needs to spend some time on. Coming back to consumer behavior, for media companies, Tejas and I do a lot of feedback videos for media companies like his as well as mine. Consumption has become seamless, intuitive, platform agnostic. And as a medium, as a publisher, I need to be with the consumer whenever he or she is consuming the content that I have, which is business and finance, at whatever time of the day they are choosing to do that, in whichever format they are choosing to do that. Much easier said than done, because it can send one down rabbit holes that there is no end to. Which is where, when we talk of outcomes, guaranteed outcomes also, one needs to be deliberate. I would say cautious, be deliberate. Say, we were first large media company in India to launch premium subscriptions. We call it PS Premium in 2016. And we had a fixed reward model with 20% of our content which is curated behind the paywall and news was free. We want to increase the subscriber base, obviously. Now, and apps intuitively are a platform where we can get a lot of subscribers from. Now, should I spend 30 rupees on an app install and 1 out of 1,000 installs becomes a subscriber? Or should I spend 300 rupees on an app install and 100 out of 1,000 installs become subscribers? Which is going towards pivoting towards quality that both Ashish and we just mentioned. As a marketer, I can't be too greedy. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Personally, I would rather have a medium-term vision and look at consumers that really matter, to whom my brand really matters, and pay a bit more for that.
Thank you, Manish. My next question goes to Ashish. Ashish, what should be the ROI metrics? Not as an industry person or as a person from your organization, because different brand will have a different ROI metrics. A Netflix will have a different ROI metrics. Insurance company will have a different ROI metrics, and an airline company will have a different ROI metrics. My question is that we go in searching money in search, social, YouTube and stuff, and we tend to analyze the ROI metrics over a period of time. But often I see, and not holding up to any specific people, when it comes to affiliate marketing, I see that marketers are putting the ROI metrics on the table before the campaign goes live. So, what is justified, what is not justified, what is your take on this, and how to analyze the ROI metrics?
So I give a holistic view first. It's not only about a particular medium or something like that. So customer acquisition cost, which we all know, right, is there. But I just cannot offset it with the revenue from the day one, because it is difficult. At our company, at Tata Mutual Fund, what we do is customer acquisition cost is there, for example, and of course we track the revenue or profit which we get, but then we divide it at CLV, customer lifetime value. For example, we take an average of 3 to 5 years. If a customer stays with us for 3 to 5 years, which we have seen, we then see for every year what is his value which is added, and then of course add the customer acquisition cost, and then we see in a period of 3 years or 5 years whether that gets profitable or not. So I think that's how we should look at it. Normally what I've seen, and right now I don't want to comment on it, but I think a lot of people see upfront that if I'm putting this much, this is what value I should do. I think we need to have a holistic view, because any medium to perform, we need to give time, invest in it. Over a period of time, if you see value, you can double your money from that and see revenue is coming. But yes, it includes both cost of acquisition and CLV, which is customer lifetime value. That's my answer.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you very much. My next question goes to Monish. Monish, how this outcome guaranteed model or this model in the developed part of the world, we have seen that these affiliate marketers or outcome guarantee or lower current providers do a fairly amount of very nice job by maintaining the client relationship with a fixed fees or a cost per retainership and stuff is concerned, and everything is transparent over there. In fact, a lot of us know is that Amazon is one of the biggest affiliate marketer in the world. They spend tons of money as far as affiliate marketing is concerned. Monish, given that in India it's a very cutthroat, do you think, and there's always this debate about transparency that from where this audience is coming, where my delivery is coming from. It's a black hole. If it's coming from search, we know that it's coming from search. People have gone to search the keyword and they found the link and they landed into the client's website and they filled in the lead. But in this case, nobody knows from where this audience is coming, what is the content audience is watching. There's a lot of debate about brand safety and stuff is concerned. Monish, according to you as a marketer, do you think that a fee model or a fixed price model, rather than keeping it extremely transactional in terms of delivery is concerned, will raise the bar and bring in efficiency and do justice both to the marketer as well as to the delivery partner?
I'll draw a parallel from creative agencies and the work we do for them. Having them on a fixed fee or retainership certainly gives them the comfort and us the comfort as well of getting the best output without rushing into asymmetric or private. On the digital marketing front, we need to explore it more. But yeah, this whole rush to achieve a certain number, which is also the lowest possible number, I don't think it works for us. We have a leeway to make mistakes as well, as long as we take the next steps in the right direction. So, I'm being intuitive right now, I need to explore these, but it seems like the right path.
My next question goes to Tejas, that we are an influencer-driven society. There is influence coming from every corner, every house, for that matter. And a lot of times micro-influencers, or for that matter micro-influencers, everybody is not big influencers, in fact, there are micro-influencers as well. There's a lot of talk that this delivery is now coming as this affiliate marketing is concerned from the influencer side. Tejas, do you think, what is your take on this whole micro-influencer community, and do you think that this micro-influencer community will aid the growth of ROI-driven marketing?
This is probably the best question that I've had, and probably the need of the hour, probably the hot topic which is going on right now. Influencer marketing is no longer a new thing for at least the people sitting in this room. And I think it's just getting started. We at the BBC don't see it as competition. It's something that we have understood it long ago that news doesn't break on TV anymore. News actually breaks on the internet. People will talk about it. That is why the term is coined as user-generated content. A lot of people still want validation, verification, because as more and more people are less shy of talking in front of a mobile camera, a lot of people can talk whatever they want to talk. So it's a free platform for whatever opinions, and it's a free platform. So people who are seeking information, especially the kind of news, kind of information that people rely on us as BBC, we are at the war zones. We cover Israel-Gaza war. We cover things when there is a cyclone, earthquake. People are relying on information which can be a matter of life and death to them. During such times, people do come to reliable sources. People want validation and verification. And I feel connecting that to this entire question of ROI, a lot depends on credibility of the platform. A lot depends on credibility of that person whose platform advertisers are using. So if there is credibility and that has been built over time, that is something that is going to provide a premium to that publisher or that influencer. And I feel that matures with the audience. Whoever is that influencer as an individual or as an institute, they mature with the audience, and as the audience grows with them, that is the premium that they can actually earn. And I feel that comes with credibility and trust.
My next question goes to Ashish. AI is a buzzword. It's everywhere. Everybody's adding AI. Previously, I thought I grew up in an age AI means Air India, but now AI is everywhere. Ashish, very soon you will see that there are AI over there, over in ROI-driven marketing as well, and all the more reason because this is data-driven marketing. It's ROI-driven marketing, and there are multiple tons and tons of data you as a marketer is collecting day in and day out from various sources, from your offline channels, from your dealerships, and from your online channels and stuff is concerned. Do you think that the play of AI on this whole thing, by which you will be able to collect the intelligence and make the whole thing, much more intelligent and drive better ROI, both from your other channels of marketing as well as from affiliate marketers?
I think what is AI? Okay. It's a data, it takes data, it reads data and then tells you what it is, how it is, and how can you use it in a better way. And that's I'm making it simple. End of the day, customer. So when we say about how it is helping us, at least we are doing a lot of hyper-personalized things. Now I'll just give you an example because it's very difficult to tell you कि ये करेगा वो करेगा. I'll just give you an example. I'm saying we have identified, for example, we are in mutual fund business. Now, what we have identified is customer behavior, which Dai also spoke. We have figured out people who invest when markets are down. For example, if markets fell by 5%, we have identified people who will invest during that point of time. Now, this would have been difficult for us to find out if it was not AI. This is through data we have found out that. Now, basis that, we send out a small video saying that here are certain things which you would be interested in. For example, there are mutual funds which you can look at. So this is how we push those things. Now, this is one example. Now, second example I'll tell you is every day market goes so many points up, so many points down, and then basis that their portfolio is going up or down, which is this. Every morning we will have a fund manager video going out, which is basis a certain pointers which is pre-decided. I don't have to record the fund manager, he just gives me a script and we send out a video on tape. So it is hyper-personalized, people are seeing into it, people are reading into it, and it is beautiful. So I think how we want to communicate will be also depending on AI, how can we make sure that hyper-personalization is the big trend, and that is going to help us. That's the point. And of course the data segregation, sorting, and making data talk for us. That's how I would look at it.
Lovely answer, Ashish. Thank you. My next question goes to Tejas. That there's a lot of talk as far as ROI-driven marketing is concerned, especially into the affiliate marketing sector. There's a lot of ad fraud which happens. There's a lot of attribution. People see the challenges and stuff is concerned. Tejas, as an industry person, as a marketer, how big this is, and what is your take on this to curb this and bring this down? Because affiliate marketing as a solution is there in the industry and it's going to stay because everybody wants outcome and outcome guarantees. What is your take as far as these black spots which is attached to these kind of marketing, that there's ad fraud which happens, attribution problems which happens, how to tackle that, and what is your take on that?
I think, so I'm going to answer on this one first, but I also want to talk something about AI as well. But first on the attribution problem, I think that is the big elephant in the room, which a lot of brands, some brands are understanding that's a big problem to address. A lot of brands are still happy with the sales and the conversions that they're getting right now, so the lower funnel, as long as that's happening, a lot of people are not concerned about attribution right now. But attribution, I feel, is the biggest problem that happens with brands advertising more and more on digital platforms. You see an ad, or you see content marketing on Facebook, Instagram, Google, ad networks. How many times will you remember that brand that you saw as an ad over there? If you do a survey, you will get 1 in 10 right answer about which brands people are able to recall. And that's the attribution challenge that people are having brands are having right now. So I think the way affiliate marketing has been used in the past few years is been directly pointing towards the lower funnel. And that's where a lot of problems start. Because the objective was lower funnel sales, conversions, leads, it never did the job of building attribution for a brand. We at the agency think about Romy, and I mentioned this before as well in my first answer. We see Romy as return on marketing investment, and we see it as short term to long term. So if we do a campaign, we actually see how long the campaign sustains and gives us the brand attribution, right up to 12 months after we've done the campaign. So can it give me a return on marketing investment even after 12 months I have done the campaign? And that covers attribution at the heart of everything that we do. So if there is attribution, then we understand, okay, you've spent the pound in the right place. And that's where our audiences are able to understand this is an advertisement or content or the brand that I've seen.
Thank you, Tejas. We have seen that a lot of marketing which existed in the past and now vanished. The marketing channels like wall painting for that matter is gone now. Nobody does wall painting, there's a fine for that, right? My quick 30-second take from each one of you that given the challenges, given the the challenges which marketers also face, which affiliate providers also face. How do you see the future of this whole marketing channel? Is it going to stay, or is it going to grow, or it's going to diminish? Each one of you can give a 30-second comment on this.
Of course, going to stay. For growing, as I told you, it needs to make sure how can it get into the type of personalization mode and drive a better ROI, which that's important.
Manish?
It's going to stay. I think marketers and agencies should work hand in hand, not get too greedy, set relevant outcomes and best outcomes, and be willing to pay for it and take the time needed for it.
Tejas?
My two cents on that one would be brand safety is the key word when it comes to affiliate marketing and providing the right environment for the brand. When that happens, it just does not concentrate on the lower funnel, it will also help in the middle funnel of consideration. And that just keeps going towards the entire funnel and the life cycle. So if that evolution happens, we see what will happen.
Thank you, Tejas. We at Dentsu work with a lot of affiliate marketers. That's a big chunk of some portion of our business which goes over there. And I think all the affiliate marketers who are listening to this panel today, or who will be listening to this panel over YouTube or anywhere, this is what my co-panelists have just suggested is what I have been telling over a period of time. You guys want to stay relevant to the business, brand safety, attribution, transparency, and value to the client is concerned, that has to be driven. With that, I close this panel. Thank you very much.